been down, down in the valley for too long. But I have climbed.
This is the spot on Sewell's Point Road where the Hershey Bar stood for 35 years. All that's left now is rubble.
My brain cannot process it. My heart cannot take it. All of the love and all of the memories and the fight to keep us open for all of those years.
Ain't nothing or nobody now gonna show me down, show me down, show me down again.
I'm Kathleen Rhodes. I teach in the Department of Women's and Gender Studies at ODU, at Old Dominion University. And I founded the Tidewater Queer History Project in 2015. So that's an organization that collects and preserves and documents local queer history. I got involved in trying to save the bar in 2018 through another friend of mine who was instrumental in pulling people together to go to the city council meetings at the time. And I spent a lot of time. I don't even know how many months we spent going to city council meetings for that. But that whole time, I was one of the people that went to all the city council meetings and worked really closely with Annette, the owner of the bar, and with city leadership to try to figure out some kind of way to keep the bar open in that location. It was very difficult for Annette to lose that bar. I mean, the way that she talked about it and that she still talks about it, it was like she talks about it like it was a person. And I can understand that 35 years of her life she spent building this thing. And then she really had no control over what happened to it at the end. Annette also owns 37th and Zen, and it's a very lesbian-friendly spot, but it doesn't take the place of Hershey Bar, and it has never quite had the same feeling, I don't think.
My name is Bert. I started right after a Halloween in 1985, and it's quite a adventure. It was an accident, honest to God. You know, I thought, oh, I'm just gonna, this summertime job. I always said it was something I just tripped and fell into, a dream, like a forever job. It's a career. Who would have thought that? Not me. I would have never thought that. That's not a real job. But as time went on and I kept going to do other little things, and I did do like I've made flower beds and junk like that as I got older. But I just started to really love it.
My name is Sheila Fortner. I was actually some of the first few that walked in when the doors opened in 1983. And it was exciting because we had a choice at that point. Before there was Shirley's, and a new and exciting club was opening up for women, and of course you wanted to be a part of that. So I think I was there the first or second night that the doors opened, and I was young and excited about having choices and safe spaces for women. As far as entertainment band, I think we were the first in this area to have an all-female lesbian band to represent our community. And it was an honor, and Annette Stone gave me a stage, as did Shirley Pritchard. And we were well received. And I think there was just a sense of pride on both sides that we were here showing you what we were about, and they were there supporting, going, this is who represents us. And we brought music of substance, you know.
It was important that women have their own dedicated spaces. A lot of the other bars that existed in the city were, although technically mixed bars, meaning open to men and women, were mostly men's bars. And that's fine, but if you're a lesbian, you want to go where the lesbians are. In fact, that was in a lot of Annette's early ads for Hershey Bar, where the women are. It was a little tagline that she used. I don't think they thought anything that anybody would really notice or mind. they had no idea that closing a 35-year-old lesbian bar, it was the oldest lesbian bar in the state of Virginia, one of the oldest lesbian bars that was still open in the United States, because 35 years for a lesbian bar is a long time. I don't think there was anything particularly sinister in this. I don't think that the city set out to be homophobic or anything like that. I think it was a complete lack of information, that they didn't realize that it would be a big deal, first of all, for the bar to close. And then second of all, that people would resist the idea that the bar could just move to another location.
This is not, you know, it's true that what they say about the location. It's very true, because the Hershey Bar was right off the interstate. Everybody could come from Richmond, Hampton, Newport, Virginia Beach, right there, right at the airport exit. Easy peasy.
It's not like you just go to the bar at Chili's and that's just a place to have a drink and maybe to meet up with your friends. But it doesn't serve the community the way that gay bars and lesbian bars have.
Oh yeah, people got married in there. We lots of funerals, unfortunately, and just everything you can imagine that we were.
That dog park thing came from someone who was very closely connected with the city. She's the one that first mentioned a dog park, and she seemed to have some sort of insider information about it, and we were incensed.
I'm not against a park. I'm just like, timing is everything. And the way that it was done was pretty brutal.
What was even worse than that was that I don't think, well, no, I know that they didn't actually have plans, and that's what they told us. So when we brought up the dog park, well, actually, we don't have any, we don't have any firm plans to make this a dog park. But they also didn't have any plans. They just wanted to revitalize, and Hershey was a part of what happened with that, but they didn't know what they wanted to do with it. I don't know that having the world's largest naval base played into what happened to Hershey Bar, but I can definitely tell you there's been a history in this area.
Annette always wanted to be open because of the military, because they don't always have anywhere to go.
There's a really great interview that I did with a woman a few years ago who told the story about how Naval Investigative Services would survey the parking lots outside of gay bars, and they would harass people that they thought were connected to the Navy. I've heard all kinds of stories that people would take the decals that you get to put on your car to park on base, and they would put them on the windshield but with tape so that they could take them off when they went to the gay bar, so that, you know, when they circled the parking lot to see who was outside the gay bars, their car wouldn't be spotted.
Shore Patrol would come around looking for them, and some people were like little rats, and they were probably gay too. And so they'd say like they saw their commander or whoever at the Hershey Bar.
We would whisper about there's a headhunter and they were here looking for the military women, and we would swift them out the back door as they were coming in the front to protect them, because that was before Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and wasn't that a fun little thing to even be introduced that was so ineffective? Created more headache than not, but certainly before Don't Ask, Don't Tell, we were able to protect the women that were just coming in off of a ship, haven't been out for months, and wanted to blow off some steam and be around other lesbians, other queer folk, you know? And so yeah, we looked after each other, whether you knew them or not. They were part of the family. So a lot of gay bars all over the country would have a light, some sort of signal, and a lot of them used a light
Sometimes they would flash the lights on and off, or sometimes they would have a particular light that would shine. And Annette tells the story about having a red flashing light in the ceiling at Hershey Bar. And the idea was if they were tipped off that the police were going to raid the bar, they would turn on that light or they would flash the lights, whatever their signal was.
They had like a little red light on the dance floor, would go spinning, and then we would just move the girls out. And normally at work, we hid them.
And in a lot of bars, what they would do, especially mixed bars, that would be a signal to switch partners. So if you were dancing with someone of the same sex, the light goes off or there's a flicker, that's a signal to you, find an opposite sex partner really quick. And so, you could foil the police's efforts to raid the bar.
We had to find clever ways to protect women allowed just to be themselves.
Our Own was the gay and lesbian newspaper. Started in 1976, went till 1998 in Norfolk. And they covered those raids. And there's a really interesting article about one of them because the police actually came back a week later. And it seems so ominous. But one of them said, "We're just here to make a social call this time." So there was a kind of, because they had arrested several people. I think it was the week prior. So sometimes they would arrest, sometimes they wouldn't. These are trading cards that I created as part of the work with the Tidewater Queer History Project. 1978, 7 men were arrested in a raid on the Continental. And then it was 2 weeks later. Police showed up and said, "Don't worry, this is just a social visit this time." I always thought this was a really important part of the story of what happened to the closing of Hershey Bar, is there was a huge police presence on the night that the bar closed.
The police being there at the end was the worst part. That made me so angry because of how much we got along. I knew it wasn't the cops. It was coming from higher up. And how many were there? And what were they expecting? Just because people were angry and we fought City Hall. I just can't imagine why so many cops would be there knowing how the police work. And people did come out, which was beautiful. People I didn't know never came to our bar, teachers from Hampton, the professors I was like, this is incredible. And I was just hoping it would slow it down and we could figure something out.
I think they thought because we had such a presence at the city council meetings that we were somehow gonna, I don't know what they thought we were gonna do.
They had every patrol car out there and vans and other cop cars around at stop signs, like we were gonna have a riot in there. Like they were waiting for another Stonewall from a bunch of old lesbians.
I think they were scared of us. I think we were so persistent. I think back to that time and I was so tired because we were going to city council meeting after city council meeting after city council meeting. And we said almost the same thing every time we went. And almost every time we went, we had more people with us. Why can't you make this area better and also honor how this bar served the community at the same time? So one of the things that a lot of people talked about at those city council meetings is how Annette would do a Thanksgiving dinner and invite people every year. Anybody could come to that Thanksgiving dinner.
We always had a free, even up until recently, a free Thanksgiving and a free Christmas meal. Well, back at the Hershey Bar, we had a huge buffet, and every Sunday, like after all the softball games, everybody would come to the bar and get a big old plate of food, free.
Because when you're in your 20s, you guys can attest, you don't always have extra money to go sit down and have a home-cooked meal. And she always brought in this lady that would prepare, anything from fried chicken, baked beans, salad, mac and cheese, just a spread. And it was also another place to come in on Sunday, most often with a hangover, aside from that, she would make sure we had at least one good meal a week. And that was always, I always thought that was really nice. It was very, it was important. I don't know if she understood how important that was to so many of us that maybe didn't know how to cook, didn't know how to prepare a meal like that. And then it was a place for us all to gather and talk about the night before and get ourselves together. But I remember seeing so many homeless people that would come in because they had heard that she gave free food on Sundays.
It's just very upsetting because I feel like I lost my whole family. Because we don't have, that was a place, and even though you could gather a new place, it's just not, it's not the same. It's not the same.
I wrote about a lot of people in the bar that were regulars, or there was stories that I pulled from to create our music to bring to our community, and it was really nice.
It's something that you miss. What are you gonna do? I mean, this whole bar times 5 of people that you know that you don't see anymore. You don't get a hug and the good things.
The heyday of HBs and Shirley's and having the freedoms and, literally swinging from the rafters. I hate that we don't have a space for women today, because I think it's equally important as gay men had their primarily gay men clubs. It was also equally important because we had to find out who we were as individuals and a collective.
I miss the Hershey Bar a lot, and I'm very sorry it's gone and that you guys didn't get to come and see it, because we would have had a good time.
'Cause I'm free.